To explore the motivations behind the extension of Koeberg Unit 1 operation cycle, we're now joined by energy expert Professor Hartmut Winkler, and he joins us now via our video link. And Professor, thank you so much for your time this evening here on SABC News. I mean, that Unit 1 Koeberg power station has been offline for at least 8 days, and it is now being returned back to service. What is your take, on this issue?
Yes, well, given that this unit has just been refurbished, as you mentioned, and it's supposed to be running for another 20 years, it is a little bit surprising that it would have an outage like that. Also, 8 days is a long time, and while they are saying it's going to be coming online soon could be anything. So let's see when exactly it is going to return to service. So there was a problem with a valve. I'm not quite sure which valve they're referring to, where it is and so on, but this sort of thing probably shouldn't happen, and I think it's just a sign that this whole life extension has been handled very badly by Eskom.
Yeah.
After all, we were told originally this was going to take 10 months, 5 months for each unit, and we are now in year 3 and it's still not finished yet. So also in the reports earlier that we're talking about the lack of transparency, that has been a problem with Eskom in general, but particularly with Koeberg. So while we're getting much better reports now from Eskom that if there is some problem at some coal power station, they normally now tell us where it is. In the past, they didn't used to tell us where it is. With Koeberg, there is still this secretness about what is happening. And yes, it's strange that Koeberg didn't actually say anything about this outage over here. If you look at their regular press releases, they'll talk about all sorts of things which are minor compared to this outage. That they never mentioned.
Yeah, and maybe let's talk about the ramifications of this Unit 1, being offline for 8 days. I mean, this is the longest in history where we've had, this unit being offline for so long. At the same time, we talk about the refurbishment which was done. What is the impact of, this unit not working?
At the moment, both units are offline. So Koeberg is essentially producing nothing. It would be giving us 1,800, 1,900 megawatts. That's equivalent of 2 stages of load shedding. Luckily, we are no longer in a situation where load shedding is upon us, so we can, if you like, stomach these outages. But at the same time, yes, this is not something. Occasionally, yes, you will get a problem at a power plant, not just Koeberg, but other ones when they're forced to switch it off. But as I mentioned, this was a bit unexpected, and it seemed to be more serious than just a simple trip where you can get the plant up and going again within a day or two. That certainly wasn't the case. As far as an outage of 8 days, it's something which isn't of a major concern, I would say, as far as a station as a whole. The outages last year, Unit 1 was out for practically the whole year, and so it's quite common. Plus, when you get these the refueling of the plants, normally the units are out for 3 months or longer. So that's not unusual in itself. But,
yeah.
Unit 1 is in any case due to be closed down again at the end of this year, as soon as Unit 2 is up and running. And now, originally we were told, well, a few months ago, we were told by the Minister of Energy and Electricity that Unit 2 would be finished at the end of this month. I'm not sure if that's going to be the case. If they get it done by Christmas, I think they're doing fairly well, given how progress has been in general. But as soon as that's done, Unit 1 is going to be switched off again anyway. And it's partly because of refueling, but also to do tests on the outer layers of the plant, because there's been corrosion there, and that's also what some of the concerns about safety are about. That is something that's needed to be checked. It might not be that serious, but it's something that needs to be checked, and it's something that cannot be checked while the plant is running. You literally need to switch it off and need to do some tests. And so that's what they're hoping to do.
Yeah.
early next year.
And of course, SABC here speaks about a lack of transparency when it comes to what is taking place, at Koeberg. What are they not telling us about what is taking place at this power station?
I wish I knew enough. I guess that's a problem. If you don't get regular information and you think that information is only being released when pressure is put on somebody, you always start to suspect that they're not telling you a whole lot of things. So is Koeberg in danger of a major accident at the moment? I would personally don't think so, but at the same time, something like that can always happen. I don't think we are facing a Fukushima or anything like that anytime soon. That is a fairly rare event, but should it happen, it's a major disaster, especially given that Koeberg is so close to Cape Town. If the Fukushima accident had happened at Koeberg, we would have all the northern suburbs of Cape Town up to the city center evacuated, because all that falls within 30 kilometers of Koeberg, and that's exactly what happened in Japan. 30 kilometers, a 30-kilometer radius of Fukushima has all been needed to be evacuated. So you want to avoid a situation like that, but all right, in the history of nuclear power, there have only been two serious accidents of that magnitude. So it's not something that people should now worry that it could happen anytime. Yes, it can happen, but it's very unlikely.
Yeah, and I mean, this is also what SABC here is warning, saying that, the possibility of an accident, according to them, say that it is possible. What is the likelihood of something like this taking place?
I would say very small. Given that there are of the order of, there's several hundred, probably close to 500 or so nuclear power stations around the world, and two of them have, over the last 50 years, experienced disasters of the magnitude of Chernobyl and Fukushima. So it's also the Koeberg is a slightly more modern design. So what happened at Fukushima and what happened at Chernobyl can't happen exactly in the same manner. At the same time, a meltdown is always possible. And if this corrosion that they're talking about is really a problem, it would mean that some of the radioactivity could leak outside the containment building. So that is a major thing that people are worried about. But yes, should the life extension have waited? In other words, should the National Nuclear Regulator have waited with their decision, which is what SABC are basically taking to court? Well, we'll see. There have been SABC has been successful in the past in their court cases. They stopped the nuclear build that was planned in 2017. So did the National Nuclear Regulator jump the gun by giving us approval earlier before they should have? Yeah. Maybe we'll see. Of course, we have to say, given that we were in this serious load shedding crisis, the expectation was always that Koeberg's life extension was going to be carried. There was simply that, let's face it, if they hadn't given this, Koeberg would be legally forced to shut down right now. And
all right.
While you might say it doesn't matter at the very moment, certainly while we were in load shedding, this would have been quite something.
All right, Professor, thank you so much for weighing in on that conversation. That is Professor Hartmut Winkler, energy expert there, just giving us his insights in terms of what is taking place at Koeberg.